1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, let's see, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Kate Genovese is on the phone. Kate is a registered nurse. Has been a registered nurse for over 30 years, it says here. She was involved in internal medicine, is involved. She runs her own Reiki practice. Her son, Christopher John Genovese, accidentally overdosed at the age of 30 and is no longer with us. And she's written a book called Hat Tricks from Heaven, the story of an athlete in his own prison of addiction. It is a true story based on the hepatitis C virus and, of course, her son, Christopher. Kate, what an honor to have you on our show. Good morning.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
I'm okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm from the Boston area, a little north of Boston, called Woburn.
Are you getting snow today?
No, but it's freezing. It's about 5 degrees out.
Well, that's not fair.
I'd rather snow.
If it's going to be cold, it has to snow. It's not fair.
I know, really.
So tell me about Christopher. When did he pass away?
He passed away on May 28th of 2016.
Oh, my gosh.
It was Memorial Weekend, so it wasn't that long ago.
No, not that long ago.
Yeah, he was a really, really great kid. He was an athlete and just an all-around good kid, but he, as I said, he played hockey and football, and he had 6 injuries during his high school and college years, which led to surgeries, and therefore he got addicted to Percocet initially.
Okay, and that's a painkiller?
Yeah, it was a painkiller that he got for his shoulder surgeries and his knee surgeries, and so, you know...
How is it administered? Is it administered as an injection?
No, initially that was just a pill he'd take home with him that the doctors prescribed. It was prescribed by his surgeon. But as time went on, he got out of college. He had a job, very good job. You know, he was coming along in life, but he just kept, going back to drugs.
Why did he do that? Is it because he was addicted?
Well, is
that the explanation?
Yeah, he was addicted. It's a disease, so it's an epidemic, and he's part of that. He has an illness of addiction. So he just couldn't seem to stop. As much as we tried to help him, he just couldn't get a grasp on his illness, and he lost his job. He was living in Worcester, which is, about an hour from where we are, where he went to college in that area. And he was living above a bar where there was a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, and he just got involved in it all over again. So we had him come home. One of his roommates from college called us and told us that Gino, as everybody calls him, that he was, slipping, meaning he was going back to drugs.
Right.
So we get him home, and he swore he'd do it on his own, like he'd just go to AA meetings and NA meetings. Do you know what those are? AA and NA.
How old was he at this point? At this point, I don't mean to interrupt you, but how old was he?
He was about 27 at this time.
Okay.
So he was with us for about 3 years, and he did well for a while, but then he just would keep mixing up with the wrong people, or just feeling badly about himself. I'm not quite sure, because he was older. He wouldn't tell us his problem. It came out also that he was sexually abused when he was a child by his uncle. Well, a lot of his past came out.
Did you know that?
Bothering him.
Did you know about it?
We didn't know about it until high school, and we got him some help. We got him to see a psychiatrist, and He seemed to be doing okay, but it just, it brought down his self-esteem.
Where does the hepatitis C of this story come in? Where?
I don't know. I don't know where that comes in. He didn't have hepatitis C.
Oh, okay.
That's another book I wrote.
Okay.
Loving Joe Gallucci. Yeah.
Okay, so then my notes are wrong. Then I'm sorry. All right. So
no, you're not totally wrong. He didn't have it, but another family member had it, and a friend had it. So I wrote another book about it called Loving Joe Gallucci. So that he did not have it though, but he ended up. Gino ended up getting arrested and going to jail for a month, and then he was put on home arrest, and he had to go to.
He had to go where?
He had to go to a sheriff's office every day in Lowell, Mass, to get some treatment. Some. Have to get urine tests and see people get counseling. But unfortunately, go ahead.
What does the title reference? What do you mean by Hat Tricks from Heaven?
Oh, all right. That I just feel like everybody knows that from the East Coast. But hat tricks actually is when you're playing hockey and you get 3 goals. If you get 3 goals during a game, it's called a hat trick, and people back in the day would throw their hats on the ice. So it's like hat tricks.
Gotcha.
I
didn't know that. Okay, that was something I did not know, and probably many people listening did know that. I don't know.
I didn't know either.
Hockey. All right, so,
I should have been aware of that in the South, you don't have too much hockey down there. I don't think ice hockey.
Well, we do have it. It's just that I don't pay attention to it. So okay. So did you? How did it affect you when he passed? How did it affect you? And did he have a relationship with his father?
Yeah, they had a wonderful relationship. I mean, my husband had a hard time. I tried to do tough love with him and have him leave the house, but my husband more or less wanted him to stay. He thought that we just should love him and help him get well. So we kind of weren't on the same page there, so that did cause some trouble. But they had a very good relationship all their lives, and it was devastating when he died. We didn't expect it. I was away in New Hampshire, and my husband was here with them.
Because
so it was very hard.
Because when you have a family member who is addicted and you feel you would do the tough love and they will leave the house, you wonder where they would go and stay. You don't know if they're going to be sleeping under a bridge or if they're going to be with more people who are drug addicts and alcoholics.
Right. So he did both of those. He had some really good friends that stayed with him, that he went to high school and college with. It. They let him stay there and crash there once in a while, but he did end up with, I don't want to say that, they were equal to him, but he hadn't, these guys that he was hanging around with were drug addicts since they were probably 12. Gino had a different lifestyle,
Right.
He wasn't brought up like that. So all this was new to him, and he didn't start shooting drugs until he was 6 months before he died, and he got initiated to it at this program he was going to in Lowell. So he died of he didn't shoot it. He snorted heroin and fentanyl, which you guys are probably aware of. I see in Florida, it's pretty much a big epidemic in your area. Mm-hmm. From what I could see.
So I'm looking at a picture of the cover of the book, and I'm assuming that is Christopher. A good-looking guy. Did he have a girlfriend?
He did. He had a girlfriend, Heather, that, they had talked about marriage. They went together all through college and beyond, but she couldn't take his addiction. I mean, she tried to help him. It was lovely, but it just shows how strong this disease is. He couldn't, no matter what anyone did, nobody could help him. He just couldn't help himself, and Heather couldn't help him. And he died by accident, an accidental overdose of snorting the drug. So it was hard. And you said, how did you feel? I mean, for days I just felt numb. His funeral was huge. There was over 400 people. And I'm not the type to just sit around and wallow in my sadness at all. I just, as a nurse, I wasn't brought up that way. And then as a nurse, I felt I had the obligation to do something about this. So in memory of my son, I wrote Hat Tricks from Heaven. And I'm hoping with the proceeds of this book that I can do something for recovery and, to stop this, to help it along, to get some... in Massachusetts, we don't have enough rehabs.
Right.
And so all of this came out of his sports-related injuries.
Yes. I mean, I think that he was an addict to begin with. He probably maybe, without all the injuries, maybe someday he would have had this problem. But yes, it did. It came out of his injuries from hockey. And I did have arguments with his doctors about giving him some medication because addiction ran in my family. It runs in families. So I did talk to one of his doctors and said, please do not give him any more Percocet. He does not need it. And he told me that he was in pain and he was going to give it to him. This is when he was a junior in high school.
Oh.
So, I know. So it was pretty devastating. He lived away. He lived in a boarding school. So I told the school nurse about it. She held on to the Percocets, but nevertheless, he knew how to manipulate. He knew how to get his drugs, and
what did he
take them?
What did he do for the money? I mean, that stuff isn't cheap.
Well, initially he got it from the surgery, so it was his insurance covered it.
Okay.
But yes, you're right. He did. He borrowed money from people. He stole money from us. He stole money from his brother, which led him to get into gambling because he spent all of his brother's money, and he tried to get it back by gambling, which he didn't do successfully.
Oh, my goodness.
And I know, so you can imagine how his brother, who's older, felt.
Was writing the book therapeutic for you?
Yeah, it was very therapeutic. It was really helpful to me because when you get the book, you'll be able to read it. And in our early years, we had a lot of fun with him. He was a good kid. He had a lot of friends. He was popular. We did a lot of traveling with him through his sports-related events. We traveled all over the United States, and they went to Europe. So we had a lot of fun with Gino.
Yeah.
He was a good kid. He was a good son.
You call him Gino too, huh?
No, I really didn't. I didn't realize until it was late. Absolutely everybody called him Gino, so I had to take a pick. Do I call him Chris or Gino?
When he let everybody know that he was molested by his uncle, was the uncle still in the picture, and did he and you and your husband confront the uncle about this?
Yeah, the uncle had, we had already known about it with other family members, and so we had pressed charges on him prior to, and so he had gone to jail. So were we surprised? No, we weren't surprised, but we were angrier. But at this point, his uncle was in a facility, and there was nothing we could do about it. It was already done and done with.
But I guess the question would be that when somebody reveals some information that may be the cause of their behavior. In his case, it stems back obviously a decade at least, right? So did telling it, even if it didn't cause any effects on the uncle, did it affect him? Did it release something from him, or maybe a burden on his shoulders, that kind of thing?
Well, I really think so. I mean, he didn't talk to me a whole lot about it, being his mom. He talked to his dad about it. He talked to his counselors about it. I don't think he told a lot of friends. I think it was something private for him.
Sure.
I think he told his girlfriend. But it was, I think you never get over something like that. It was kind of like he put a Band-Aid over the injury and just left it there. But I think it was just a combination of just growing up in a family that had addiction running all through it, because there's a lot of alcoholism in my family of origin and my husband's family. And then, we had a nephew that died of an overdose when he was 23. I have a large family. There's about 20 of the cousins, So it just ran through the family. So
you know what I'm wondering, though? I mean, you're attracting a lot of attention with the book. I'm looking online, and I can see that it's doing pretty good. It's number 70 in the hockey category, but it's 151 in the drug dependency category. And even though that's a bigger number, I think that's an important number, because out of millions of books, to be 151 and in a drug dependency category, meaning that people who are maybe dealing with drug dependency, either of their own or somebody they love, will probably get something from the book that just may prevent them or somebody they love from taking that same path that Christopher did.
Well, exactly, and I am so glad you mentioned that, Larry, because I have gotten emails from people thanking me from my website that this has gotten them the courage to get some help themselves, like Al-Anon. I went to Al-Anon, which is a family support group of family members that have addictions. So if you go there, you get the courage to take a stand. I took a stand with him and said, no, you can't stay here. There's rules, things like that. It made me feel better about myself. Also, some people have gotten help. Their kids have come forth and said, okay, I don't want to end up like this kid, like Gino. I want to get some help. So they have gotten them help. So there's about, several callers I got saying that. So I'm glad it's drawing attention. That's my purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not only a tribute to my son, it's something I'm doing for the world, I hope.
And this also, this kind of addiction and problems can happen in any family, no matter what their income is.
Absolutely. As we say in Al-Anon, there's no zip code to this disease. It can happen in any place. It can happen in the lower income or higher income. I mean, there's many, many addicts in our town, which is middle class, but in upper classes is, many. I mean, there's thousands. There's deaths every week from this disease.
Right. I think when we hear about celebrities that are dealing with addictions, it almost seems like it's on another planet, and it's hard to relate to it. Maybe not for everybody, but I think your story is important and powerful because of the fact that it's the guy next door. It could be us. It could be our neighbor. It could be our brother.
Absolutely. That's the point. It can be anybody at all. I mean, I bring up the fact that my dad was an alcoholic, but he was a vice president of the telephone company. I mean, he made a lot of money, but he just sometimes couldn't get a hold of his drinking. It didn't affect my whole life that much, but it affected his a whole lot. So that's what I'm saying. We had money and it still happened.
And a point that you brought out, that your son was a minor, his doctor wanted to give him these drugs. You said no, but still the doctor said, yes, we're going to do this. It's almost like he went against your wishes as a parent and a medical professional.
Yeah, he went against my wishes, and he said, he made me feel very demeaning. He said, you don't understand how painful shoulder surgery is. It's one of the most painful surgeries. He needs this medication. Stop being a helicopter mother. That's just what he said to me.
Oh my God.
And
What do you think he would have done with his life had he conquered his addictions? What would he have done?
well, I think he would have been very successful. He was into sales. He worked for a lumber company. He was into sales, and I think he would have just been very happy and successful, I believe.
I guess I'm trying to wonder if maybe what he would have done, in addition to what he made money with, maybe you just told me what he might make money with, but I think in addition to that, he would have also done what you're doing right now. I think you are actually doing something he might have done, which is to have an open and honest conversation about addictions for the very purpose of preventing somebody else from going down this same road.
Well, absolutely. He may have, but he also may have never gotten better. You know, you can look at it that way.
Right, yeah. I mean, if he had, that's what I mean. If he had conquered it, if he had gotten better, what might he have done? And I think that maybe, I don't know him, but I'm just guessing, one of the things he might have done, having conquered something so hard to conquer, he might have done exactly what you're doing right now to help other people conquer it.
Well, you know, he told his boss about this early on when he first started working with him. And his boss was wonderful to him and said, look at Gino, you could just turn this whole story around and really help people.
Right.
You know, being abused and being addicted, you could just turn your whole life around and, you know, write a book yourself and help people. He just didn't have that He didn't have that, whatever it takes. I don't know.
And
Didn't have it.
what you're doing with your book is you're opening up a dialogue between parents and their children, because you're encouraging parents not to close their eyes and to look for the signs and symptoms of anything that is not normal in their world.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you can stay in denial. It's easy to do that. It's fun to do that. You don't have to think about it. But I was a school nurse for 6 years, and I could pick out the kids in kindergarten that were going to have trouble.
Oh, really?
Because just the ones that were coming out of my office constantly, and nothing was wrong with them.
Right.
There was something wrong with them at home. There was something. And today, several of those kids have passed away from addiction.
Wow.
So
Gosh.
I think you can just get it early if you really talk about it, if you're open about it. You know, I mean, I even have family members that are embarrassed by us. They're embarrassed that we have this going on in our lives.
Well, sometimes if you know somebody who's an alcoholic and they are belligerent or just not pleasant to be around, you might love them, but you don't want to be around them. So it's kind of like you can't really help them because they won't allow you to enjoy their presence. I'm not saying that's the case with Christopher, but I think there are some cases like that.
Absolutely.
You're getting really good reviews on Amazon, and it looks like you're helping a lot of people already, even though it's a very new book. The book is called Hat Tricks from Heaven, the story of an athlete in his own prison of addiction. It's written by Kate Genovese. Kate, I found it on Amazon, so I know I can get it there. Do you have a website dedicated to the book?
I do, actually. It actually has my other books on it, too. My website is kategenovesebooks.com. And you can order it through there. You can get it through any bookstore or online bookstore, or through my website. You can get it. It's out there. You might have to order it, but you'll get it in a few days.
Okay. Yeah, I just went to your website, kategenovesebooks.com. Kate, thank you for being on the air with us. You're coming up on the second anniversary of Christopher's passing, and I'm sure it's as if it happened yesterday for you. So thank you for the courage you have talking about this. I think you are helping people, and I'm sure you'll get plenty of email or letters expressing that very thing.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on, and I hope that you get to pass this information on to others and the people listening. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Kate. We'll take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back.